What's good, everybody out there on YouTube? This is your man Shattuck Stick dropping some hot fragga on this mic. You're watching Jet Set Shattuck, and today we're actually going to be talking about Mario Kart World and how I feel about it 3 months later. Quite honestly, I'm very conflicted. I believe Mario Kart World is simultaneously the best game in the series, but the most undercooked. I'll address everything in the way I usually do, but this isn't fully scripted, so there might be some flubbing. But here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and start with the gameplay. Honestly, it's one of the best feeling games in the series. The additional parkour and tricks and stuff that's been added into this game has really made it a pleasant surprise to play. It's also made it continuously a joy to go back and, actually play tracks. Seeing how fast you'll get somewhere because you kind of figured out how to do a trick in a different way that doesn't, completely push you off course. The karts control well, and combined with the better animations, the game is just a blast to control. Races are up to 24 players, making races way more hectic, and on top of that, way more sweaty. So much so that I think I dropped the game one day in and then had to come back a couple days later to play it because I got so heated. And this is all in conjunction with a new mode called Knockout Tour, which is functionally a battle royale in race form, and is honestly one of the coolest things to be added to Mario Kart since Dual Racers and Double Dash or bikes in Mario Kart Wii. We also have an open world mode in the form of free roam to explore. There's also intermissions between races since every track is set on one giant map. We also have some form of character customization outside of the few key characters that had it in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and the Mii's. Moving on to presentation, it's the best looking in the series, in all honesty. Don't let anyone tell you anything different. The characters and animations are far more expressive. And on top of that, the game utilizes the Switch 2's power to push the envelope in lighting and asset quality that just wasn't there with Mario Kart 8. Mario Kart 8 looked amazing, but when you look at it upon closer inspection, it just doesn't hold up quite as well as Mario Kart World. The open world is also vast and visually cohesive despite all the different locales and track designs. And then HDR actually transforms this game. It makes the world pop even more when on a capable display and when properly calibrated. The music is also best in class and the best in the series, with a multitude of remixes, arrangements, and reorchestrations of some classical tracks. The scope expands to track switching genres and formats, and honestly, I just need you to listen to some of it right here. So based off of what I just said, Mario Kart World should basically be, a home run. There shouldn't be any reason for people to have problems with this game, but I think there's some key points to be made. In all honesty, I thought about making this video when the game first came out, specifically just a review in general, but sitting on the game for a while, playing it some more, and, racking up enough hours to kind of give my more educated opinion on this, especially as someone who loves the Mario Kart series and likes kart racers in general. I think the main issue is that people were expecting more. Let me elaborate on this. The open world is actually really nice, but the main issue is that there's no real reason to do missions or find secrets outside of stickers. This is a double-edged sword, because exploring the open world is functionally stress-free. You're not worried about anything like, let's say, missions or enemies or anything like that. You're just kind of strolling around at your own pace. But simultaneously, there's no reward for your gameplay or your performance, despite some of these missions having some challenge to them. And that's because there's not as much customization as there should have been, especially considering stickers and costumes are the main forms of customization and progress in this game. I just think it's asinine the way they implemented stickers. I feel like you should have been able to fully deck out any kart to your liking. I know Mario Kart is really known for the gameplay and that's what people are there for, but I feel like a lot of people were expecting a lot more, especially considering the game is open world and that the characters now have costumes, and there's been kind of this emphasis on customization via that. Even if every kart just had different colors or different costumes for the karts, I think people would have been happy with that. But Once you get done with the character customization, you're really just collecting stickers, and on many of the carts you won't see them during gameplay. They're minute and just functionally don't matter. When you take the lackluster single player experience and combine that with online that is about 10 years behind, it really pisses people off. There's no option to choose between intermission and regular races in open lobbies. The reason this is an issue is because many people don't like racing in what is functionally a straight line. I actually don't care about the intermission races. I like both styles of races, but many people, especially in the West, do not care for the intermission style races, or at least the frequency in which you get them in online. This is exacerbated by the fact that knockout tours for online, there's just not enough. There's no customization to it. You choose the ones that you do offline and you just continue to replay those. There's no variety. And then when you add the fact that casual and ranked are not split in this game, which in all honesty is fine, but again, that's less modes to play and less ways of playing. It's really frustrating. There should also be a separate free roam mode for online. While you can technically free roam online, it's only in private lobbies or in between races and the worldwide. Nothing more, nothing less. And just in general, free roam needs more. The small missions and quest blocks are cool, but not substantial enough. It's kind of crazy that they don't have real on-the-spot races like games like Need for Speed or Forza, but a multitude of the missions recreate tracks from previous Mario games, or Mario Kart games specifically, and expect you to race on quotation marks on them. You're just kind of hitting checkpoints, and there's a bunch of racers on screen at the same time. They bear no weight to your race at all, to be honest, but I think it's kind of crazy that they did that but didn't add actual functional races in the free roam. Again, they could have added more customizables. To be honest, it could have been a whole ass story mode. This just wasn't a huge missed opportunity. And then when you add those things up and there doesn't seem to be a plan currently for post-launch content, it's very disappointing. This game is $80. Now, I joked, I think, a while ago saying, Mario Kart 8 might be worth the $80 because upon first impressions, it really is a great game. And it still is a great game. But times are tough right now. When you compare the game to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, a game that, after almost 15 years of content is still, $60, or you can find it cheaper with a ton of additional content added to it for a small price or for free, it looks like the lesser of the two deals. This in conjunction with more kart racing, competition showing up like Sonic Cross Worlds and Nintendo's own Kirby Air Riders, and many people are scratching their head as to why they got Mario Kart World. This isn't to say that, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is a fair comparison. Mario Kart 8 upon launch was not really all that. I think it was actually, dinged for being the most bare bones Mario Kart, period. But by the time we got to the Switch and 8 Deluxe came out, and then all the additional content 8 Deluxe had that was also accessible for free whether you bought the new DLCs or not, people just feel like there's something missing from Mario Kart World. And in all honesty, I believe this game can be saved in quotation marks. People are still playing the game online. There's still tons of people uploading YouTube content on it. But I just think that Nintendo needs to go back to, the drawing board. I think they need to do things like adding intermission only modes and, regular race only modes into the game. It would satisfy so many people because there are people who like the intermissions. If you've ever played the game at the time when all the Japanese players are online, all they do is choose intermissions. They do not choose regular races. It just feels like this game is lacking options when it should have as many options as humanly possible. I hope they announce some type of, roadmap for the game going forward. I don't need DLC right now, but hopefully some fixes to the way the online is structured and works, plus, a roadmap for DLC would be really good, especially in the modern day and age when people expect these things. But with all that being said, this is me, man, Shattuck Stick. You're watching Jet Set Shattuck. Thank y'all guys for watching. Check out my Mirror's Edge video. I put a lot of work into that video. It's really good. And if you missed my Switch 2 review, that'll also be, on the screen, I guess, soon. But remember, Hot Faraga turns to Cold Blazaga. Check out some of my other videos. Links to my socials are down below. Peace. Have a good one.